She stood in the center of the glittering gala, her laughter ringing through the air as though no darkness had ever touched her world. Her dress, a cascade of sequins, shimmered beneath the chandelier's glow, throwing flecks of color like stardust across the hall. A champagne flute sparkled in her grasp, and those gathered around her hung on her presence, enchanted by the ease with which she commanded the room. To them, she was grace incarnate, flawless, untouchable, the very image of success. But midway through the evening, when her hand slipped into her clutch, she froze. Hidden among the contents was a ring. Plain gold. Modest. Etched with the date we exchanged vows. The very same ring she'd claimed to have lost 6 months earlier. Next to it was a folded note, just 2 words scrawled in neat ink. I know. Her eyes darted across the ballroom, searching with barely contained panic, the way a hunted animal might look for its trap. Her breath snagged. The smile faltered. And in that instant, the perfect illusion she had so carefully upheld cracked open. The mask she wore for months dissolved. We'd been married for 6 years. We met in graduate school, back when ambition filled every hallway and possibility hummed in the air. She was brilliant, sharp-witted, driven, magnetic. I was quieter, more intuitive, drawn not to textbooks but to people. She once told me that's what she loved about me, that I could see through the noise and really see her. Maybe I did once. Together, we built a life. We shared a modest apartment, launched dreams of starting a consultancy together, and spoke of a future built on honesty and trust. Or so I believed. The cracks didn't come all at once. They began like hairline fractures beneath the surface, subtle, almost invisible. Late-night meetings she brushed off as strategy sessions. A new passcode on her phone. A foreign scent clinging to her clothes. The way she began saying I'm more than we. I noticed all of it. But love, real or imagined, can cloud even the clearest eyes. Or maybe it just tethers you to a version of someone long gone. The night the truth finally surfaced was ordinary. She'd left her laptop open, a rare oversight for someone so precise. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't even suspicious in that moment. But fate has a way of placing truth directly in your path. An email chain she'd accidentally forwarded caught my eye. She was in it, alongside Jared, a coworker. Attached were images, hotel bookings, intimate photos, a snapshot of the 2 of them laughing in bed. She was wearing one of my shirts. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I simply closed the screen, poured a drink, and sat quietly while the night turned to dawn. That was the last time I felt helpless. She didn't know I had discovered her betrayal, and that became my strength. I remained composed, never distant enough to alarm her, but observant, careful. While she arranged her next rendezvous, I began my quiet war. I compiled everything. Emails. Messages. Cloud backups. Then I hired a private investigator, professional, discreet, methodical, who uncovered the apartment they were secretly renting, hidden behind the false label of a work project. Every detail was documented. Every photo, every date, every location. Her arrogance made it easy. She had grown careless, convinced I remained in the dark. But within 3 weeks, I found something more damning. Bank statements revealed a trickle of funds siphoned from our shared business account. The amounts were small enough to avoid immediate notice, buried in the paperwork of project expenses. But they all led to a shell company, registered under Jared's name. She wasn't just unfaithful in our marriage. She was robbing me blind as a business partner. I never confronted her. Instead, I played the role she expected of me, a loving husband. I made her breakfast, kissed her goodbye as she left to meet the man she was betraying me with. But I wasn't her partner anymore. I had become her shadow, patiently waiting for the right moment. It took 4 months to build a case so solid it could bury them both. I chose my moment carefully, the company's annual retreat, held at an opulent estate owned by one of Jared's wealthy friends. The whole affair was dripping with artificial charm, flashy, self-important, a place where smiles were rehearsed and every conversation was strategic. Naturally, I wasn't invited. But I didn't need to step foot inside. She brought along the designer clutch I had gifted her last Christmas, still protected by the same passcode she never bothered to change. A fatal oversight. About an hour into the evening, as she mingled with executives and toasted to her so-called promotion, a staff member returned her clutch with a courteous nod. She didn't know it had ever left her side. Inside, tucked inside the lining, was the wedding ring she'd claimed to have lost, and a simple note. 2 words, "I know." As she stood frozen, panic tightening around her like a noose, I sat in my car 2 blocks away, watching her unravel through the feed of a borrowed drone camera. Her smile collapsed. Her mask slipped. And her carefully managed world began to splinter in front of everyone she sought to impress. The next morning, the consequences began rolling in. Every compromising email, hers and Jared's, was forwarded to Human Resources, the company board, and, most devastatingly, Jared's wife. The financial documents showing stolen funds were delivered to a friend of mine, an investigator specializing in white-collar crime. He owed me a favor. By noon, both of them were suspended. By the week's end, they were fired. The company issued a formal statement about upholding ethical standards. I filed for divorce the following morning. I had everything I needed, undeniable proof of her affair and financial misconduct. The prenup, her own design, ironically, stripped her of any rights to our shared assets in the event of infidelity. She walked away with nothing. Not the apartment. Not the business. Not even the ring she once pretended to lose. She tried to reach me, of course. The calls came in non-stop. The texts flooded my phone, full of pleas, justifications, desperate apologies. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I sent her a scanned image of the prenuptial clause, the one that ensured her betrayal would cost her everything. There was no media circus. I didn't want spectacle. My revenge was private, deliberate, the kind that leaves no applause, just silence. The kind that hits hardest behind closed doors. Jared vanished to another city. His marriage in ruins, his professional license hanging by a thread. She still emails me sometimes. No words. Just blank messages that feel like quiet screams. I never reply. I don't pity her. Her deception revealed something in me I hadn't seen before. I'm not fragile. Betrayal doesn't destroy, it refines. It carves away illusion and leaves only truth. Some people call revenge immature. They've never had their world stolen by someone who promised to protect it. I don't regret what I did. That night, she opened her clutch expecting yet another night of praise and prestige. Instead, she found the beginning of her fall.